Okay, here we go. This is Garrett. I have played a ton of Madden 25, and I want to give you my honest review. I want to go over the good stuff first, then we'll go over the bad, and then we'll go over the ugly. But there is a lot of good in this game, so please let me spell it out. And also stay tuned. I'm going to be sharing with you the very, very short version of one of the greatest stories on planet Earth. Let's get started with the good. The graphics. They are beautiful. Sometimes you can look at the game and you actually think you're seeing a real NFL game. I'm playing on the next generation graphics on my PC and it's looking beautiful. The boom technology, I would say that's the single best thing in Madden. It works. However the programmers did it, the boom technology works. For example, Ray Lewis is the strongest guy on my entire roster that I know of. And he is just wrecking havoc out there through the boom technology. So let's give EA credit when they do something right. How about nerfing the jukes, nerfing the hit stick? It's not as crazy anymore. It's not as powerful anymore. It's more realistic now. And the players are moving in a more realistic way. Let's talk about the tackling. There's all kinds of brand new tackling animations. The game is looking better and better. Excuse me. And I want to give the developers credit on that too. Let's go over one more. Hey everybody, could I please ask you a favor? If you don't mind, scroll down below, click our subscribe button because we could really use your help. Thank you very much. The catching animations, the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs catching the ball. It's beautiful. It's more like a real game now. Now I do like to play in arcade mode to see the spectacular catches and runs and craziness going on. It's so much fun, but the catching animations, I would say that they're the best that this game has maybe ever been on. There's a little bit more good I want to mention. The UI. It's upgraded. It looks better. It's beautiful. It's easier to use. And how about the announcing? The announcers are brand new. They're better, more realistic, more professional. And when I listen to a game, when I play a game, the announcers don't bother me anymore. Now, they actually add to the game, which is what they were supposed to do, in the very beginning. I'm having a great time with the playbooks. I've tried a bunch of different offensive and defensive playbooks looking for my play style, and I found it, very happy with them. And generally speaking, the game is working good. Generally speaking. That right there is going to wrap up the good parts of the game, highlighting, I would say, the boom technology, tackling, and catching animations. Now, I have a 15-minute video on YouTube that shares one of the single greatest stories that I've ever heard on earth. But here is the 30-second version. The Romans were going to be invading Jerusalem and destroying the temple in AD 70. So what the Jewish leaders did a few years earlier, they hid half of the temple, half of the treasure, far underground below the temple. And their theory was, let Rome capture half of the treasure, thinking that they got it all, and they would leave us alone. Then when they're long gone in the future, we'll come back, get the other half, and we'll dominate the world with that much wealth. Rome destroys Jerusalem, destroys the temple in AD 70, carries that half of the treasure back to Rome, thinking they got it all. Remember, this is the short 1-minute version. This is a long story. Many years later, the Knights Templar were created by some very wealthy families in France. What happened is they had heard that the treasure is hidden in Jerusalem. So they hired an army, they trained them, the Knights Templars, sent them into Jerusalem, and they dug underground for 9 solid years. They did not go into Jerusalem to rescue the Jews. They didn't go there to capture the land from the Muslims. It had nothing to do with God. It had nothing to do with their belief in Jesus. No, it was about greed. They dug underground for 9 years. They found the other half of the treasure. They carried it back to the south of France. Now, what happened in Rome with their treasure? The Goths invaded Rome and carried their half back to France also? Both treasures and the sovereignty of Jesus Christ were sent back to France. One treasure was sent back to a castle, which you can study on my video. I'll put the link down below. The other half was hidden up in the mountains in the south of France. Years later, to finish up the story, Nazi Germany is losing the war. Hitler sends his #1 commando, Otto Skorzeny. You see, they heard about the treasures in France, and they sent Skorzeny to go look for them. He finds the treasures, brings them back to Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany takes the treasures and scatters all over the world, down to South America, to Antarctica, to the moon, if you have ears to hear, and to other secret locations. And what they did is they formed over 750 powerful corporations, and they've been ruling the world ever since, from World War II all the way to today. It's the Nazis working hand in hand with Satan who are ruling the world through their witches and warlocks, through their hybrids, through their spacecraft. Some of their corporations, before we get to the bad part of Madden, are T-Mobile, Deutschland Bank, Siemens Corporation, Ford Motor, General Motors Corporation, and on and on. They're ruling the world. Now we get to the bad part, and there is some bad. Ain't that the truth? The music isn't my favorite. I gave my life over to God a while ago, and I'm trying to listen to different music now, and there was no way to turn it off. I went into the settings over and over and over again. I turned the music off. Lo and behold, I play a game and the music is there. It took me a while to figure out that I had to click down here on the bottom right of the screen, click my name, click EA Music, and turn it all off. Why on earth did they hide it like that? Next, the grind. The grind is for real. If you want to grind out your cards and not spend any money, you'll be grinding for weeks and weeks and weeks and months just to get a level 78 card, a 79? This game has a terrible grind. Now, this is really bad what I'm about to mention. The terrible rewards. Look at some of these. You got to do all of this hard work here for either a token pack or a 76 card or a 71 token or some kind of 78 card. This is insanity. What are the EA developers thinking giving us these terrible rewards? I don't need these rewards. I don't need any of these. And what happened is, because I don't need them, there's no reason to do them. I did them anyway out of boredom. Out of boredom, I did most of them, but talk about trying to force you to spend money. Another crazy thing, when your AI opponent wants to score, there's nothing you can do to stop them. When the AI is programmed to score a touchdown or a field goal or to win the game, it doesn't matter what defense you call. It doesn't matter how you play. It doesn't matter what user controls you use. You can't stop them. It's all programmed into the software. I mean, that's okay, I guess, for some people, but for me, it's a little weird. Now, I'm a PvE player, and one of the huge sections of PvE, the solo battles, has been broke for just under 1 week. There are people all over the internet complaining about it. We're not getting any compensation. We're not getting any emails from them in game. We're not getting anything at all. And they left it broke for almost 1 week? How is that possible? Whew. All right. Before I go over the ugly, here's a little reminder. The Romans took half the treasure back to Rome. The other half was found by the Knights Templars. Both treasures were carried back to France, which is a supernatural miracle in itself. Nazi Germany hears about the treasure. They go there, they find the treasure, they grab it. They form 750 corporations. They fund their spaceships. They fund their secret technologies, their laser weapons, and all this other high-tech technology that they've been hiding for 80 years. Ford, T-Mobile, Siemens, ITT, General Motors, Deutsche Bank, Chase Bank, by the way, they own Chase Bank, and all the other banks that they own are ruling the world today. Nazi Germany won the war. They own the planet in a kind of a demonic type statement. God owns the planet. God's Son is ruling the planet. All right, the ugly. You gotta spend money. You don't have a prayer of hope if you don't spend money. If you don't spend money, you don't have a chance of being competitive. If you don't spend money, you're gonna have to grind your little bony fingers to the ground to try to get an 80 or 82 card. You have the pay to win in this game is off the charts. It's so bad. And I do want to give God some glory here. God used this game right here to show me there's no way on earth I'm going to buy NBA 2K25. I have unfollowed, I have unwished NBA 2K25 on Steam, and I'm not buying that game because when I see the pay to win in this game, I know NBA 2K is going to be right there, and I don't even want to get started in it. The store is the biggest part of the whole game. It's advertised everywhere. It's showcased everywhere. You can't get away from their store and their specials, and it's so unfair. They have outright gambling in this store. Outright gambling. I'd rather go to Vegas and gamble. Last but not least, in the really, really ugly section, the auction is dead. The auction was my favorite part of the entire game. I start off with 20, 30, 40,000 coins and build it up to 1 million by manipulating the auction, scouring the auction. I used to log on to the auction every 15 to 30 minutes, scouring for specials and incredible deals, buying them, buying 5 of them, buying 10 of them, and reselling all 10 of them at a huge profit. You can't do any of that anymore. Now, let's be fair, you can do it a little bit. You can make a little bit of money in the auction still, but the developers have redesigned the auction house and they destroyed it. I have seen YouTubers who make their comments on the auction house stating publicly they might have to find another game to make their videos. This is so bad. The pay to win on the auction house destruction is so bad. I wish I never bought this game. I tell the Lord Jesus right now, I wish I never bought this game.